Hello and welcome to the Black Swans presentation of our experience with the Markstrat simulation. Ours is a story of making mistakes early and often, learning a great deal from them, and finding ways to apply our newfound knowledge. We began the simulation in the cellar, and by the sixth period had worked our way to the top floor in a position of great strength. If there were more periods, we would be taking flight shortly. We do truly believe that a wise investor would see the Swans as the company of the future, with our steady and sure rise to the top well assured. Overall, we believe we did a good job and consistently built upon our successes throughout the simulation. The growth we displayed from period 0 through period 6 demonstrated our ability to identify what we did right, building upon our successes as well as looking at what we did wrong or in error and course correcting when necessary. The knowledge we gained about the market, the segments, and our brands throughout the simulation increased each period, leaving our brands in what we believe is a great position overall in most of the segments. Our SPI ended up at 2185, which was good enough for third place, behind the Titans at 2777 and the Lynx at 2271. However, the most encouraging sign for us was how strongly we finished. From periods 4 through 6, our SPI growth was 31%, which is far and away the strongest growth during that range. Also, in period 6, we had the highest revenues, the highest net contributions, and the largest marketing budget for the next period. This points to our belief that we ended with a very healthy array of brands, as well as a lot of potential growth as we begin to reassert ourselves in the savers market. As you can see, in the last 3 periods, we really did improve dramatically, especially compared to the competition. Our growth from period 4 on was leaps and bounds ahead of everyone. This points to our successful new brands, as well as our focus on keeping hold of the shopper's market with a solo brand. We believe that the way we ended the simulation would set us up for a great future. Our performance by brand overall went well, with 3 out of the 4 brands ending up either in first or second place in market share by the end of the simulation. Our solo brand was positioned for the shopper segment, which was the largest growing segment throughout. We sold over 1,600 units over the course of the simulation, and this was by far our most successful brand and the leader in cumulative sales in the black industry. We focused much of our efforts and budget on this brand due to the large growth potential, improving the product and spending a good amount of marketing dollars. This product fit what the shoppers were looking for, and this is what helped us in our later stages because of the revenue that it brought us. The sock and soap brands were brought in to target the high earners and professional segments respectively, and were both launched to good success. These products were well researched, carefully developed, and came into their market strongly. Since these products were both targeted at segments where customers were not as price conscious, the high margins we reaped helped build back our SPI through to the end. Within 2 periods, sock had become the leading brand for high earners, and soap had become the second highest selling brand for professionals. This definitely was a big reason why our period 6 revenues were high. Our biggest issue throughout the simulation was our problem child soft brand, which we targeted toward the savers. The savers being such a large segment and with good growth potential, we knew it would be important to gain market share. Our product initially did seem well positioned with savers, but we underestimated how important it was to have a brand aligned as perfectly as possible for the segment. The savers ideal was too far off from soft, and our initial R&D did not correct that fully. Our failure to capitalize on the soft brand was the main reason we believe we did not end up in first or second in the simulation overall. If we had R&D'd the brand in period 1 to fit exactly what the savers were looking for, we could have retained our market share, and the Titans would not have dominated the segment the way they did. After soft's downfall, we decided to focus on other brands instead, but by periods in 6 we're working our way back into the savers segment. With a large budget heading into future periods, we would have continued that strategy and continued to increase our market share. Alas, these initial decisions cost us important revenue and increases in early SPI. We think there were 2 major keys to the success for us in the simulation. First, we knew we needed to focus on the shopper segment. Because of the growth potential of the market, along with a relatively decent margin there was to be had, with a strong brand in that segment, we knew that if we could gain market share, it would set us up for a successful long-term simulation. Also, we knew we had to keep up the brand's features, keep them aligned with the shopper's desires. Another key to our success was our ability to identify opportunities in the market for us to exploit. Each period, we looked at the market to see who the main players in each segment were. We attacked the high earners and professional segments because we felt we could R&D a new brand accurately and introduce them to the two segments that had a lot of revenue potential due to the high margins, and that were possible also because of these segments. This allowed us to grow revenues more dramatically and would have helped us to get our soft brand back on track in future periods. The main thing we would have done differently would be doing a better, more complete job in our initial research and development projects for the solo and soft brands. Our initial R&D took too few factors into account, and we missed the boat in lining up with some of the ideal values as well as we should have. We relied too heavily on the conjoint analysis, and this caused our initial projects to miss the mark a bit. While we were able to rebound quickly with a solo brand for shoppers, which was crucial, our soft brand did not, and this caused the brand to suffer nearly non-existent sales in the saver segment. If our initial R&D had been aligned properly, we would have had very good odds of keeping the lead in the market share for solo throughout the simulation, and a great opportunity to keep soft relevant for savers throughout all 6 periods. This would have gotten us off to a good start and given us a larger budget to work with sooner. This is what the Titans group benefited from. If we were able to hold market share in both of these segments sooner, it would have mitigated the impact that the Titan brands to shop and to save had in the overall simulation. Since we nearly abandoned soft brand after this failed R&D project, it created a hole in the market for to save to come in and dominate that segment for a few periods. The silver lining to these R&D projects not going well was that we quickly learned from our mistakes, and we were able to end up with a very successful brand that was indeed aligned with the shopper segment with solo. Also, it taught us the hard lessons we needed to be able to confidently launch the sock and soap brands, knowing that with our moderate budget at that point, we could not afford to make a mistake with the launches. Each segment is unique in its features and qualities, and the ones that are important to them. Since one product cannot be all things to all people, we found the best thing was to focus each brand at one segment of customers and to commit all of our efforts to that segment. We learned to keep our products aligned with segment customer preferences, to use advertising research to improve our message and to encourage loyalty, and to make shopping easy for them by having our products available in the right proportion of channels to match their shopping habits, and to use advertising to keep our key segment customers aware of our product in the first place. We also learned to use segmentation as a way to envision actions we could take to continually improve our market share, our revenue, and our contribution. As you can see in the graphics, nearly every period provided us with at least one opportunity to make moves based on the segmentation of the market. The upshot of the segmentation of the market is that it gave us opportunities to learn how to target specific groups of customers who are either being poorly served or underserved. Additionally, as segments grew at different rates or had different average contributions, we learned to target faster-growing segments that were well-served but growing enough, or had enough profits to be shared. Other companies may be wary of entering these kinds of markets and did not put as much effort into new products. This opens up opportunities to step in and grab market share with the right product. We learned that a market may even be in decline, but if it has good value share of the overall market, one can benefit from entering that market too. Examples of how we applied what we learned can best be seen with the 2 products that we created, sock and soap. Sock was used to enter a slowly growing market, but with only one good product and lots of available capacity. Soap was used to attack a market not serving its customers well. In both cases, within 2 periods, our nicely targeted brands shared the leader position in the segment. Pricing was still a point of frustration even coming into the last period. However, we did get much better at using all of the information provided to come up with what we thought were ideal prices for our brands. We watched the markets and tried to adjust our pricing to fit what the customers we were targeting for were willing to pay. To do so, we utilized perception to see how other brands' pricing would offer us latitude to keep our price as high as possible. We used conjoint analysis to understand how the perceptions were shifting over time and kept an eye on what segment leaders were doing to ensure we did not get too far from the most successful brands. Additionally, we learned to use the ideal evolution in conjunction with our perceived pricing to know how to inform our advertising research budget. From the conjoint analysis charts, we learned not to trust the report's given utility peak, but to see the plateau and the range of potentially acceptable values. At the start, we simply went for the peak and lost margin with pricing that was too low. By the end, we had learned that lesson and kept our prices consistently much higher. Each market segment wants something different, and your product must be closely aligned to what they're looking for. Otherwise, no one's going to buy it. In order to pick our product elements, we learn to use the ideal values and then compare them with the perceived values of all the brands over all the periods. Market research is extremely important to focus on before implementing new products or updating current ones. And the consumer panels were vital in us making good decisions in the simulation. In general, we learned to order all of the reports in order to keep our products just right for the segments we targeted. We also learned that consumer preferences change over time and to continually update our products to match what they want. Consumer loyalty will only last so long until your product just does not work for them anymore. We also learned a lot about inventory in the course of the simulation and the importance of having sufficient product in place to meet the demand. Judging the volume was a difficult task early on, but became more predictable as we gained more sense of the market. We learned that having our products in the correct channels was extremely important, as we lost sales early on due to poor distribution. It became apparent as time went on that we also needed to avoid keeping our prices low just to gain market share, as we had poor net contributions each time we were on the low end of the market. We learned this the hard way by underpricing and underproducing so low early on, and that lost chance cost us a possible early lead in the game. Over time, we learned how to best allocate our commercial team to meet the habits of the segment we were targeting, and by learning from the success and failures of our competition. Spending is crucial to adequately market your product. Whether a new brand or an established one, you need to be marketing, and that costs money. As a brand becomes more and more established, it seems that less money is required to keep your brand awareness up. But if you want to continue to stay on top, you must spend to keep your share of the voice loud enough to keep the competitors from entering markets or taking away market share. Launching a new brand requires additional marketing money. If you do not put enough money towards it, the awareness of your product could fail rather quickly, and we saw this happen to numerous brands during the simulation. Advertising research is important to ensure that the message you are trying to get across to consumers is working. We learned the importance of a good message the hard way, and learned to keep advertising research at 10% or higher, as any time we dropped below this, we lost the excellent tag in our messaging. Well, thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoyed our presentation and learned something about what it is like to be a black swan.